Dearest Mother, I have been in the AuthorTube trenches for what seems like years. My only companion is this book, and inexplicably, a cat named Jane. I have seen many horrifying things. Low sub counts, sassy comments, and no channel growth. I wait every day for us to make a push over the top, but we never do. My only solace now is this tag, which some randos tagged me in. Maybe it will get me through yet another dark night, here in the AuthorTube trenches. We're here to do the AuthorTube in the trenches tag.
Hey guys, this is the world's fastest reminder that you can support me on Patreon and see all kinds of exclusive videos like these ones. Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
I was actually tagged to do this one. It's a miracle. I was tagged by the folks over at Strip Cover Lit. It's very cool that they know that I exist, and I appreciate them giving me that little extra shout out to get a few more subscribers over to my channel, to get me to that 1,000 subs mark at long last. Let's hope I stay there. You never know. YouTube is a fickle, fickle mistress. But let's just do this tag all about being an AuthorTuber. I have been an AuthorTuber for a while, so if you, for some reason, like my face, like my voice, or just want to talk more about writing with me, I have a bunch more videos on the subject. So go check them out when you're finished watching this, if you want to. I don't know, it's your life. I'm going to be reading the questions off of my laptop, Candy. She will be assisting us today. Because I was too lazy to write them down in my notebook. By the way, today I'm wearing my Salt shirt. Just felt appropriate. Alright, question 1 of the tag. Do you have a sweetheart novel, short story, or poetry project? A project that turned you into a serious writer? I do. Don't most of us? And so often that project turns out to be that one idea that we just keep coming back to, the story that speaks to our soul. I have a whole video about that one idea. Go check it out. I'll try to link it in the doobly-doo for you. But mine was actually a book that I wrote originally when I was 13, and it was the first book. Like, I had written other book-length things before that, but that was the first one that I really felt like very proud of and really kind of cemented in my mind that yes, I want to be a writer. That's what I want for sure for my life. It was called The White Rose. It was a fantasy story about a princess who escapes when her castle is overtaken by her evil uncle. Her twin brother is taken prisoner and she flees out into the countryside where she meets several interesting characters. And she is bearing the White Rose, the family's seal. Her only chance is to raise an army using the seal and bring it back to retake her lands before her evil uncle enslaves like half the population and does other various warmongering evil things. The only problem is that the seal is stolen from her almost immediately. Good job, very good job. Gangbusters, you're doing well. And so what I was trying to do with this story is the story of a girl who thought that she needed this object to prove that she was a good leader, and she spends much of the book trying to get it back. But in the end, she learns the lesson that leadership is not about objects, and it's about who you are as a person and how you treat other people. And that message, I think, is a really cool message, but unfortunately the book is real bad. Of course, I wrote it when I was 13. It's not going to be a fucking masterpiece. But it is such a sweetheart book for me that I really do want to go back to it someday. I have big plans to how I will rework it. I don't think the main character is even going to be a princess anymore. I think the message might be tweaked. It will still have this seal, but it's going to change a lot from the original. There'll probably still be an evil uncle guy, but yeah. That is my sweetheart book that I want to go back to. My husband thinks I'm crazy for always wanting to go back to it, but I don't care what he says. Someday I will return to it. Question 2, do you ever plan to work on a series-length project? The White Rose was supposed to be the first in a trilogy, but that's not going to happen. I don't like to write series. When I am done with a book, I am done with it and ready to move on to the next thing, and I just don't have any desire to write a series. I also prefer to read standalones, even though I like reading series okay, I prefer standalones, so it makes sense that I would also prefer to write them. Question 3 is thoughts on mixed form projects, such as short stories that contain poems, novels that contain short stories, etc. I like them. I really kind of came into my reading life when I was reading Brian Jacques when I was young, and he always includes songs and poems, because he's a poet as well, in his writing, and for a long time I thought that all writing just like naturally included that stuff because I read so many of his books. He has a lot of books, you guys. It kind of saddens me that more books don't contain, you know, poems and stories and short stories. I really feel that if done well, they build the world and the culture of the world you are creating. I'm mostly talking fantasy and sci-fi here, but I think it can also be done in contemporary. I just think it really strengthens the world building if you can do it well. Question 4. Where do you picture publishing in 10 years? I barely have a handle on where to picture publishing now. Like, it says it wants to be one thing, but it is sort of demonstrably not that thing, and it's very frustrating because I'm querying right now. Where is the publishing industry going to go? I think I do agree with Adrian from Strip Cover Lit, who was doing this tag originally, was saying that it'll be a lot more of a mixed bag as far as, like, it will be difficult for different reasons because it'll be more like dependent on your following, your external following, and it already is fairly dependent on that, but like if you have a large YouTube channel, if you have a large whatever future Twitter turns out to be following, and then you might be picked up by an agent who's like scouting for you instead of you having to like throw yourself at agents. And on the one hand, that is appealing because it is really exhausting throwing yourself at agents and being constantly rejected, but at the same time, it's also really exhausting to have a big internet presence. So I agree that that's probably the direction that it's going to go, but it's disappointing because it's still not that great for like those of us who are small and those of us who don't have any advantages in anyone helping us in the industry. I do hope that it becomes a lot more mixed as far as self-published and regular publishing. There are already a lot of hybrid authors out there who both traditionally publish and self-publish, and I think that we're only going to get more and more that way as time goes on. Question 5. If you could have one booktuber review your work, who would it be? It's tempting to say Strip Cover because they would shred it to tiny little pieces and my heart would be broken, but at the same time I would be like, yeah, no, that's fair. But I don't want that because it would make me sad. I think I would love to have Sam from Thoughts on Tomes read my book. She's a fairly large booktuber, and I really like her reviews. Even though we don't always agree, I really like her style of reviews. I love her personality, and also she's really into Mass Effect, so I'm all about that. And I think that she would like my books. Like, judging from what she likes, I think that she would like my books. And she's just so high above me. She's so lovely. I've tried to comment on her videos, but like, I am but a lowly peasant, and she's never like said a single word to me, and I'm over here like, notice me, senpai. But it'd be very cool if she ever reviewed one of my books. Question 6. Writers' quarrels are a thing of legend. What author alive today would you want to spat? Are they? I don't know. I guess I never know the writer gossip. I don't know who's quarreling. Who's quarreling right now, guys? Tell me. I want to hear about some legendary quarrels. Who would I fight? Who would I fight? Everyone. Fight me. I would fight. People are gonna unsubscribe for this, but I would fight J.K. Rowling. Bye, subscribers! It's not that I didn't like her books, it's not that she's a bad author, I just want to tell her to stop. Stop! She will not cease to keep adding pointless details well after the stories are over, and I was like, when she first revealed the Dumbledore was gay thing, I was like, okay, well, I understand why that wasn't in the book. It wasn't important to the story. Why would this old man tell a teenage boy that he's gay? Like, what would that have to do with anything? It was easy for me to go, okay, I understand why that wasn't in the book, and it's a cool little tidbit that she added on later. Whatever. But then she wouldn't stop. She's still doing it. The thing with wizards and poop, was that April Fool's? Is she pranking us? Because, oh my gosh, stop. And, like, I think I could take her. I'm small, but I'm scrappy, so we could have a proper feud. I know everyone's gonna hate me. Some people still love those details that she adds, but she needs to stop. And also, she needs to start actually putting inclusion in her books instead of just saying that it's there. See, I could take her, but I don't think I could take her fans. They would just pile on top of me and I would suffocate to death. Question 7, have you ever been part of a writer's group? Yes, I was for a while. Our library had a writer's group, and when my grandfather was alive, he was thinking of writing his memoirs, and so he was like, hey, there's a writer's group, let's go together. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And so we went together, but after he died, I stopped going because it really wasn't the right group for me. It was mostly older people who were writing nonfiction, and that is just really not my thing. Like, I hesitate to say they didn't really get my writing, but they kind of didn't because it was so different from what they were interested in. I need to find a writer's group that is more my age and more interested in writing fiction. I didn't feel included ever, really, properly included. And so without my grandfather, I just stopped going. Question 8, do you have a favorite writer's craft book? Confession time, guys. I don't read craft books. I am not interested in someone else telling me how to write my book. It might be interesting to potentially read one someday, you know, just to find out, because I am fascinated by how different people write, but craft books, it always seems like there's this intention that you are supposed to then write this way, and everybody's process is so different that I'm just not really a fan of craft books. I have a bunch. I have a whole bunch up there on my shelf, but I haven't read any of them. And if you think that makes me a hack and a terrible person, whatever, that's on you, babe. If you want to read some of my writing and find out if it's really as bad as it probably is, I have a Wattpad, so I'm not ashamed. But I don't read craft books, so I don't have a favorite. And the next question is, do you have a least favorite? And again, no, because I don't read them. All of them are my least favorite. And question 10 is to tag people, and as usual, I am not prepared. So if I tag people, I will list them in the doobly-doo. So go look down there. Strip Cover Lit has probably tagged several of the people that I would tag anyway, but just in case, check down there to see if you're tagged. So that was this tag. We got through it together. Managed to survive in the trenches. Don't forget, if you like this tag, there's a bunch more like it on my channel. I've been doing this for a while, so I have a lot of content for you. Otherwise, if you want new stuff, I post new videos Mondays and Fridays, and if you go over to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you can get exclusive access to videos that are not seen here on this channel, so even more stuff. All the links to my social media are in the doobly-doo, and I will see you again next time with whatever it is I happen to be doing next time. Bye!
Well, hey there, it's time for this month's patrons. That's right, it's shout-out time for Lennox, Amanda, Celia, Jenny, Kim, Lisa, Lemore, Sabby Panda, Sam, and Sarah. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. I really, really appreciate you all.